Things just took a major turn for the Houston Rockets, as with Tari Eason extension talks stalling, a new report has a trade for the Rockets to improve on the veteran talent inside the organization. We take a look at the trade and the latest contract discussions right here on Rockets Digest. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you tuning in to today's show. Real quickly, want to remind you to hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free. And of course, we're bringing you daily Rockets content, obviously with the season just about ready to get going. We're about a month and a half away now. Obviously, we're going to have a lot more news to cover as we get closer. So subscribe today so that way you're in the know throughout the entire 2025 and 2026 Houston Rockets season. Okay, let's get into today's show because as of right now, there has been nothing discussed as of late about a Tari Eason extension. And kind of as a backstory here, Tari Eason can have an extension in place until October 20th. After that date, if there is no extension, he will become a restricted free agent next offseason, which basically just means that a bunch of other teams can come in and basically bid on him. Now, the Rockets can match that offer. However, if a team comes out and decides to, push a lot of money at Tari Eason, the Rockets can't do much about it. With contract talks stalling with him, we also have to talk about Kevin Durant because he is a big part in this. If the Rockets plan on keeping Kevin Durant for the next 2-3 years, then he needs to take a pay cut. That has been put in like stone on the wall. They need to have him take a pay cut if this were to work out for the organization. So now talks are starting to heat up. Okay, if he doesn't take a pay cut and the Rockets still do decide to sign him, what is the next step? Well, Tari Eason being a restricted free agent seems like he will not end up with Houston at that time. And so in that situation, there has been talks across the league of what if the Rockets are open to trading Tari Eason, and what exactly would that look like? Well, let's kind of talk about it here. As we go into the report from the Sporting News, it's Griffin Goodwin saying, quote, "But the Rockets roster currently has a weakness that could make itself apparent over the course of a potential 100-plus game season. A lack of experience. The organization has addressed that issue by trading for Kevin Durant, who is 36, and re-signing Fred VanVleet, who is 31. He continues on to say, quote, "But a number of players expected to be key contributors in 2025-2026 were born this century. Alperen Şengün, Amin Thompson, Tari Eason, and Reed Shepherd." Now, he does have a point, and obviously that was not a problem for us last season. In fact, we had less veteran leadership last year than we'll have this season if you go by the ages. Obviously, Dorian Finney-Smith can be considered a veteran leadership in some aspect. Clint Capella, he's been in the league for a decent amount of time. But at the same time, you have to understand, key contributor-wise, there are going to be some of these young guys that are expected very high aspirations, and whether or not they're able to contribute efficiently is a big question on how the Rockets will improve this season, or, what happens in the Western Conference. So with that being said, we kind of dive into what exactly the trade market could look like, and obviously, if they decide to trade Tari Eason, what exactly would the trade be? Here is Griffin Goodwin again of the Sporting News saying, quote, "The Rockets, though, could look at the trade market as a means of adding another veteran with a strong postseason's pedigree in New York Knicks guard Josh Hart. Hart would give the Rockets a much-needed experience as Houston looks to claim an NBA title," end quote. And so with that being said, it's a one-of-one trade here. It's a Rockets get Josh Hart and a Knicks get Tari Eason. This is obviously the wrong way around. I'm just really realizing that now. Bad job, Sports Illustrated. Bad job. The Knicks get Eason, the Rockets get Josh Hart. Either way, this trade is an interesting one for one specific reason, because if you ask me, the Rockets would likely need to sign Tari Eason to keep this momentum going. But in the same aspiration, if you are thinking Kevin Durant needs to be here for 2-3 years to try and create a winning culture, then in that aspect, and you're not going to sign then Tari Eason, I would probably say maybe try and see what's on the trading block for him, because I don't want to not sign Tari Eason and then next year when he becomes a restricted free agent, knowingly, not be able to match whatever offer the rest of the league is willing to put out for him. Now, if the Rockets are sitting here and an extension does not get done by October 20th, and they're saying that's okay, next season we're going to have a little bit more of some room in the cap space margin. Obviously, I have to talk about what Kevin Durant will be getting. There's a chance for a extension, potentially even a rookie max extension for Amin Thompson. Then what can they offer Tari Eason? And do they think the rest of the league will be able to match that offer? That's a big question. And so let's look at Tari Eason and Josh Hart from kind of an unbiased view. At least I'll try to be unbiased. 25 minutes per game last year for Tari Eason, averaging 12 points, 6.4 rebounds. He is a guy that the Rockets really, really like, and in the same breath, they expect a lot from him this season. Same can be said for Reed Sheppard. The big question is, will he be up to the challenge? Now, the forward position for the Houston Rockets is at a very good spot right now. You talk about all the forwards they have. You think about not just Kevin Durant and Jabari Smith, but you're also going to talk about Dorian Finney-Smith. And in some ways, Josh Okogie can play the forward position. Tari Eason is there. There's a bunch of guys, I'm sure I'm missing even a couple that could be really key contributors, at least in a depth role. So for Tari, it's a spot where you expect him to excel, but I don't know if he'll be playing 25 minutes per game this season. So that's kind of the big question. So we just saw Tari Eason starts. Let's go over to Josh Hart now. He averaged nearly 40 minutes per game, or at least closer to that. He's got 13.6 points per game. And a big thing in which he fits perfectly with this Rockets organization is his rebounds per game. Nearly 10 rebounds per game. His field goal percentage is really, really good. His defense is solid. Josh Hart, to me, does scream Rockets player. If you think about the guys that Ime Udoka has brought in and really kind of built this team around. So, that being said, let's look a little deeper in this trade. What exactly is the kind of argument for this? Well, we first go to Sports Illustrated Dave's Holcomb, who had this report. He said, quote, "The most realistic Hart trade this summer is one where the Knicks receive a younger forward with future upside. But that forward also has to possess the ability to contribute immediately. Meanwhile, the acquiring team for Hart has to value his experience and leadership over the upside they are losing in the other forward. The Rockets potentially fit that description." And this kind of puts it perfectly. Do I want to trade Tari Eason? By no means necessary do I want that. Do I want the Rockets to get this big extension done with Kevin Durant? No, they're going to be paying Amon Thompson and having the money put away for Thompson and just not get anything done for Tari Eason. And then next year, when the restricted free agency comes around, they're not able to match whatever offer is put on the table. That's where I become, I'm going to say, a little frustrated. I have loved every move that Rafael Stone has done, and I believe that he is going to make the right decision. And that right decision would be to extend Tari Eason and get Kevin Durant on what would hopefully be a cheaper deal than what he is expected to sign, or what he could sign, rather. But if that doesn't happen, and he does choose to pick Kevin Durant over Tari Eason in this instance, I'd rather just trade him. I'd rather move on and say, I love him. I don't want to lose him, but I'd rather get something in return for him. And so we kind of continue on with the report from Sports Illustrated's Dave Holcomb, who says, quote, "Houston finished with the second best record in the Western Conference last season. Then they took the Golden State Warriors to Game 7 in the first round. The Rockets lost that game, proving that maybe more experience and leadership is what they needed to take the next step in 2025 at 2026, end quote. Which, Josh Hart is 30 years old. I'm not going to try and argue against him being a quote-unquote veteran leader. But I'm not going to label him as a leader. I'm not looking across the NBA and saying, oh, Josh Hart, that's the leader. That's a leader of a team right there. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. So, does this trade make sense if Tari Eason doesn't get an extension done? Yes. Does this trade make sense if Tari Eason is, in talks of a discussion, still being able to get there, or the Rockets feel comfortable with what they're able to, match any offer next offseason? No, I don't think it does. I don't think that there is a world where Josh Hart proves more worthy than Tari Eason. And so I'm going to put this out there, and I'm going to preface, this is if a Tari Eason extension is guaranteed not getting done. Does this trade kind of intrigue you? So, put this out there. If we don't get an extension done with Tari Eason, is this trade worth considering for the Houston Rockets? I want you to get in the comment section, type Y for yes, or type in for no. Let me know your thoughts. I think it's a yes. I do. I don't want to trade Tari, and I've tried to make that very clear throughout this video. But I also don't want to lose him for nothing. And if the end of the day is, okay, we're not getting Tari Eason back in the next season, I wouldn't mind getting Josh Hart. He's a veteran leader. You're probably going to be able to sign him for any deal that, will keep him around a little bit longer, a lot cheaper. At least in my mind it should be. and he's an all-around player. Not that Tari Eason isn't, but you can stick Josh Hart into a lot more positions and feel he's going to succeed right away more than Tari Eason. Now, Tari Eason long-term has a way higher upside, obviously, being just 24 years old. But, again, this is all really hinging on the fact that the Rockets and Tari Eason in the contract discussions, they've kind of stalled a little bit. We haven't had a report in nearly 3 weeks now, so what exactly is going on behind the scenes could really tell us a lot. However, right now, the Houston Rockets organization, I don't know if you saw the report, but Rafael Stone kind of claimed that the Rockets were the smallest front office in all of professional sports, which I'm going to say it's a good and bad, because I think in a lot of ways you want to have more viewpoints in there and, be able to kind of look at everything from each angle, make sure you're not missing anything. At the same time, they've done a great job. They haven't missed stuff, not saying anything bad about them. But also, the good news is a lot of times these reports don't leak. A lot of times these contract discussions don't leak. So it's good, but it's also bad, because I would like to see what exactly is being talked about. Want to know what's going on with the extension talks, obviously both with Tari and with KD. And for now, we just have to sit, wait, and really kind of understand what's going to be the future for Tari Eason, if it's going to be with the Houston Rockets, or if he is going to be the piece that will be moved in this instance. I mean, the Rockets have made moves to set themselves up for success over the long term, but sometimes when you're trying to set dynasties up, there is a player or two that kind of gets caught in the crossfire in a way, and in an instance like this, the likelihood of the guy being in the crossfire being Tari Eason is very high. I don't think anybody else. You're not getting rid of Allen Thompson. You're going to pay him. Obviously, Şengün's got a contract already. Just and Jabari Smith. We'll see what happens. Obviously, we'll keep you up to date with all the reports latest on Tari Eason and Kevin Durant. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you made it to the end of the video. Obviously, you're enjoying the content. We've got more and more coming once the season is a little closer. But for now, we appreciate you. We'll see you next time here on Rockets Digest. Peace out, guys.